I'm about to steal my brother's Bronco. Actually, I'm just gonna borrow it for a few hours. I have some tail lights that we need to install on his Bronco, and he has no idea that I'm going to do this. We have some AM off-road tail lights that we are gonna basically be replacing his LED tail lights on his 21 Bronco Badlands, and we are going to put some Raptor style lights on in place of those. These will not work on a Raptor. They will also not work on a Bronco Sport, obviously, because that's a completely different kind of vehicle. I'm getting wet standing out here, but we're going to be replacing these. We'll go over how we do that. Gonna have to remove this trim piece at the bottom, and there's about 3 or 4 bolts and little push pins that have to come out of the side. It's relatively easy to get in there. Should be about a 30-minute job. All right, wish me luck. Hopefully he likes them. If he doesn't, then I guess he could just replace them back. So it's gonna be kind of funny. I just wonder how long he's gonna go without noticing. All right, guys, this should only take us about probably 30 minutes or so to complete, but check these out. Let's take a good look at them here before we get them installed. Now we're going to be reusing a bracket that is actually on the back side of these factory lights. So when we get it out, we got to do a little bit of prep work. Shouldn't take very long. Get them back in there. Check your work before you proceed to the other side. But like I said, probably going to expect to take about 30 minutes of total overall time to get this done. All right, guys, a little trim tool can help here to remove these. Sometimes they come out pretty easy. Like that one there wasn't a problem. But sometimes they just rotate. So you kind of have to give it a little, you got to give it a little help. There it comes. Once you can get the threads to release there, it releases that plastic tension that's held on it, and then it slides right out. It's a 10 millimeter. That just threads out. Oh, shoot. I knew there was another one in there. I could not see it. All right, once these 2 pieces here at the bottom come out of this bracket here, they'll easily detach from the corner piece over here. But just so you can see what I did, start here, and then you're working it to this point. So when you go to reinstall, start here and then wrap it back to this side, and then you're going to just pop those 2 little push pins back in there. All right, so you can see this is all one piece here. We're gonna take the little bolt at the bottom that is your retainer to this. Then we'll use our trim tool and we'll knock. You can see where it's retained right here. And once that one starts to come out, it will just pop off. I can't really think of, he would have changed any of this, but a lot of these bolts are just barely, they're barely in there, which is just odd. And once it starts, you can just kind of all right. All right, so right here at the very top of this plug, if you push that down, you hear a little click. Once and then it's basically out from there. All right, we have 3 10mm bolts to get out. Actually, they're not 10mm. They're slotted, so we can just use a screwdriver. And once we have these out, the removing of the light is now done. Don't forget this one over on this side. And that's not slotted, so we need the 10mm for that one. All right. I'm not exactly sure what kind of bolt these are, but that actually took a 7mm is working perfectly here. So I'm gonna get them loose, and then we can finish taking that bracket off. Save yourself some time at this point. The gray connector that is actually connected to the bracket, leave it in place. If you can, just unhook the pigtail that actually connects directly to the OEM light. You are going to actually join that piece directly to the AM off-road light. As you can see here, I have the pigtail completely removed. Just leave it in place. It will go a whole lot smoother, and you don't have to fiddle with trying to get that one end off of the bracket. Clicked in place. So that makes a lot of sense. Hopefully nothing messed up. So let's just sit this right here. And we're going to manually turn on the headlights, and we should have tail lights here. Hey, look at that. Hey. All right. So we're good. I would already had started the process of trying to plug up that passenger side. And the other day, we tried to connect to a base model that had the incandescent bulbs. And I had made a slight modification to that plug, so I wouldn't have even realized it. It would have not fit this. But by taking that off of the LED circuit board directly off the light, it works. So, all right, cool. Let's get this thing turned back off. Get that bracket put back on here, and yeah, anyway, that's it. All right, should be looking something like this. I got the plug over here. What threw me off about the whole thing was this thing has a place for it to like ride on a tab, and there's not near enough to like just tuck it back over here. There is a place right here maybe to tuck some wiring, but I think that's for the other style bulbs. But that should work. I don't think that's going to be in the way of anything. Nothing to rub. So, all right, let me get these tightened up real quick. All right, on your passenger side, you're going to have to contend with your tailgate. It's the same process as before. You're going to have a little bit more limited space. You have to start with that, and we'll get this other side. Okay, on the driver's side light, we actually removed the pigtail and we removed the bracket, swapped the brackets around. Now what I'm going to show here is the quickest way to do it, and that is to remove the pigtail directly off of the light, take the bracket off, and then transplant that directly to the AM off-road light. It has one more step there. You're going to have to press in pretty hard right here. That releases it once it's released. There it comes. I can't believe I got it on camera. All right, so now that we can just basically remove our bracket, swap the bracket over, and then hook up the light on this portion here. All right, and on this one, I kind of reworked this. You've got a couple of different ways you could do that, but it should be out of the way. I just didn't like all the wires being bunched up together. A little tougher to get this one back in there. You just have to, you've got less of a clear shot. But what I ended up having to do was open this fully, start the bolts by hand, shut the thing, and then tighten them all up. And then got them tight from there. All right, we're back to the easy part here. We have them both installed. Let's test our work. Let's just turn on the lights. Make 100% sure that everything on. Cool. Oh yeah, we're fully lit. All right, let's get everything tucked back away, get all the trim pieces back on, turn this annoying chime back off. Dropped my phone a minute ago and blew the back of it out. At least it didn't mess up the lens, and at least it didn't do the screen. But not happy about it. All right, there they are. Let's put these trim pieces back on. It's just basically gonna make sure you're lined up, and if you're lined up properly, these will lock in place over here. Okay, so here we're at the final part after we've got our trim pieces back on. Final thing is to put our little rubber gasket back in there. Now this, it's gonna go in. I have better luck doing that, getting them in there from the. First thing, I'm gonna put that joker back in there. All right. All right, we're officially through. This will give us a good look at the activation feature when you open your door. Before I go deliver his vehicle back, you're not due back in town until tomorrow. I ought to do just a comprehensive walk around. This has about 60,000 miles on it now, and all right, obviously I'm in here, so I can't see that, but we're gonna pull out here real quick.